Hey, welcome to this webinar, How to Read 100 Books. In this webinar, we are going to see how you can literally, practically, definitely and surely read 100 books throughout this year. Now, some people come to this webinar thinking if I read 100 books that will be a great thing. Some people come thinking even if I read 50 that's a great thing, even if I read 20 that's a great thing, if I read 10 that's a great thing. Some people end up coming thinking this year if I open a book that is also a great thing, but I am here to give you a target of how to read 100 books and tell you how to read 100 books and ensure that you are on your journey of life with reading, learning, growth and excellence. Now, talking about those people who think even if I open a book that's a great thing, and probably many of you are in that category. How many books do you really read? Type in the chat box and let me know very quickly. How many books have you read in the last 1 year, 2 years, 5 years? Probably because of the pandemic you got some time, but as life is normalizing, you are seeing that again the time that you are putting into learning is going down. So let's understand one thing here, why people don't read. We are going to see why people don't read, we are going to see what you can do to read, we are going to see how you can change your fundamental reading methods, how to move your eyes and use your head when you are reading so that you can read much faster, understand much better and complete the books that you started. Now think about this, the number of books a person reads throughout that person's education per year is roughly about 10 to 15 books. A person reads about 10 to 15 books per year throughout education, and once they are done with their education, with their school, college, masters, PhD, whatever, do you know what is the average number of books a person reads throughout the entire life? That average is less than 1 throughout life, not even per year. Why does that happen? Less than 1 book throughout life. 99% people don't read at all. Hardly 1% people read. And if you are one of those 1%, then look around you and you will get your answers. How many people around you actually read? Then the question becomes, why read? What is the advantage of reading? The primary reason why I want all of you to read is this. Wonderful people, great people, wonderful achievers, great businessmen, great scientists, great personalities have been kind enough to put down their experiences, their thoughts, their methods into books, so that you can consume that on a ready-made platter and grow beyond that, so that you can start where they stopped. Unfortunately, many people are stuck reinventing the same thing. What would happen to you if you read a few books written by these wonderful people? How many ideas, how many methods, how many techniques, how many solutions you would have for it? One thing I can tell you for sure, if you have a challenge in life, there is a book for it. If you have an aspiration in life, there is a book for it. If you have a goal in life, there is a book for it, how to achieve it. Whatever be your situation in life, there is a book out there written by some great personality that can help you through this entire situation. And that's the primary reason why we all need to know how to read, because reading is the most fundamental and the purest form of learning even today. Even in this world of webinars, videos and so many other things, reading is the purest form of learning. And that's why I am here to tell you today how you can literally, practically, definitely and surely read 100 books in this 1 year. Now, when we talk about reading and when we talk about reading 100 books, there are a few people who put in the comments, what's the point of just finishing 100 books? So let me tell you, we are not here to finish 100 books, we are here to read 100 books. When I say reading 100 books, I don't mean going through 100 books, putting them aside, just clocking the numbers. We are going to read with the complete understanding of reading. So let's understand what is reading first. Reading is not just taking a book, going through all the text page after page and then putting the book aside. That doesn't complete your reading. That in fact only begins your reading. Reading is reading the content that you are reading, reading the text from the book, understanding it in your mind, filtering out what you think is useful to you and filtering out what you think is not useful to you. Then being able to remember what you have read, because only then it is useful. If you forget, then it is not useful. Then being able to recall that information when that situation comes in your life. Only then reading is useful. If you remember but you don't recall when you need it, it is still unuseful. And then most important, being able to implement the knowledge that you have got through these books. At that point, I would say reading the book is complete. It's not just complete when you go through the text. It's about reading, understanding, filtering, remembering, recalling and implementing. That is when your reading is complete. And this webinar is all about completing and understanding this entire process. Many people who don't read primarily don't read for one fundamental reason that we will come to very shortly. Think about this. People who read 10-15 books per year throughout education don't read a book at all. Why were they reading before education and why they don't read after education? Here's the reason. Before education, they were at a gunpoint. While they were in their education, they had to get marks, score their results, go through the next years, complete their exams. So they were at a gunpoint and they were reading. But then somebody who was reading 10-15 books per year all of a sudden stops reading after education. What could be the reason? And is this logical? Does that make sense? At the surface, it seems like it doesn't make sense at all. Now, especially when all people know, and I am sure you would also agree to this, do you think reading will make you a wiser person, a nicer person, a richer person, more compassionate, better at your relationships, better at people management, better at productivity, better at your health? There are wonderful outcomes of reading, and yet many people don't read a single book after their education. Even when they agree, they know it by their heart that reading is going to help them, yet they are not able to read. There has to be something wrong with reading. There has to be something indifferent with reading because of which people don't read even after knowing that reading is going to change their life for the good. There has to be something fundamentally wrong. So first let's understand what is fundamentally wrong, then let's understand how we can fix it, and then I am going to give you a system by which you can actually read a lot and a lot, probably more than 100 books in a year. A quick introduction about myself. My name is Pavan Bhattad. I am the founder of Pavan Bhattad Institute of Thinking, which is Asia's first and only institute specialized in thinking. I was the chief referee for India's National Memory Championships for a few years, and as far as this webinar is concerned, I am fortunate enough having been coached on speed reading by the coach of the world record holder in speed reading. I am trained by Tony Buzan, who is a coach of the world record holder in speed reading, who is the founder of World Memory Championships and the inventor of a wonderful technique called mind maps, which helps you to summarize an entire book in a single page with all the detail. We will come to all of this shortly. All I want to tell you right now is the data that I am giving to you, the information that I am giving to you is what the record holders in reading are using. That doesn't necessarily mean I want you to go out and break records. Even if you start the books that you wanted to start, is that a great thing? When you finish one book, you get motivated to pick another. When you finish that, you get motivated to pick another. Unfortunately, what happens with people is they start a book, they are not able to finish it. And is this your reality as well? You buy books for self-development, but you end up doing shelf-development. You buy books to learn, but the books remain in your shelf. The shelf is developing, but you are not developing. That is a reality for many people. It's not that people don't buy books, they do buy books. In fact, many a times you buy books impulsively. You are walking across a bookstore somewhere, in a mall somewhere, a title appears in your eyesight. You think this is exactly what I need, this is what I am going to read. You buy the book, you think today I am going to go and clock and finish this book. I think my solutions are in this book, but that energy is only until you buy the book. The moment the book comes home, it lies in a corner for a few days, then in the bookshelf for a few days, and then it is not found after that. That happens because of a fundamental challenge with reading. And that fundamental problem with reading is, for most people out there, reading is a slow and a boring process. I repeat, for most people out there, reading is a slow and a boring process. The books they start don't get over. Probably many of you experience this. The moment you start reading, your thoughts wander here and there. The moment you start reading, you feel sleepy. The moment you start reading, other things automatically become important and you have to stop the book. And this is something that many people suffer with, and as a result, they don't read. Today we are going to fix all of that. We are going to go to the coremost reason of this and then find the solution to it. Once the coremost problem is solved, I think everything will automatically solve itself. Many webinars like this end up selling a workshop at the end of it. This webinar is different. Here I am going to tell you how you can read 100 books, what are the fundamental changes you need to do. I will also invite you to a workshop which again is going to be absolutely free. We are running a foundation called Knowledge and Karma, under which I want more and more people to read, more and more people to learn, more and more people to grow, and more people to excel. And for that we are conducting this webinar, and after that I will invite you to a good 2-day workshop where you are going to learn wonderful ways of learning which will change the way you learn. Doctors, lawyers, chartered accountants, politicians, engineers, call a profession, and these people have attended this workshop. I have been fortunate enough to teach this to thousands of people until now, and they have really excelled in what they do because they got this most wonderful technique of reading, because of which they started reading, because of which they started excelling in what they do. So let's come back to the core most reason why people don't read. People think reading is a slow and a boring process. In fact, they don't think so. It is their experience that reading is a slow and boring process. Some people, when I ask them, why don't you read, they say, oh, I prefer video over books. I tell them, fair enough, you prefer video over books. How many videos have you seen in the last 1 year related to learning? And they are like, well, not too many. So preferring video over books was not their preference, it was their excuse for not reading, but then they were not watching videos either. As long as you watch videos, you read, you do whatever you are learning, you are growing, that's a great thing. But make sure this is not an excuse. Now let me tell you the fundamental reason why people prefer video over books. The fundamental reason is that the video gets over. Books don't get over for many people. Video at least gets over, right? Now if I told you this, you take a book, you start a video based on that book. If a video is something like this, where the author itself is giving a webinar or something like that, then it still makes sense. But when a video is made in order to communicate the idea of the book in the form of a movie, in the form of a drama, then the video definitely dilutes the content of the book. When an author writes a book, the author sits in a corner, faces the wall, sits on his table and pens down his thoughts and experiences. You get the originality of the author. When a video is made for that book, you don't get that originality. You may get a wonderful way of learning, more senses will get involved. But somewhere the originality gets diluted because there is a screenplay writer, because there is a director, because there are actors, and because of all of this, the originality gets diluted somewhere. And that's why I said books is the purest form of learning. Even then, if I tell you this, you start a video based on a book somewhere in the corner, mute the video, and parallelly you start reading a book, and I promise you will finish the book with very good understanding before that video gets over. Then will you read? Make a promise in the chat box, if I give you this technique you will read, and let's move forward. You will be able to read 100 books in a year with this wonderful technique called speed reading. And the moment I say speed reading, people think, oh my God, what's the whole point of reading fast? Here I don't understand when I read slow. Can I read fast? I'll come to that. The reality is, the faster you read, the better you understand. The slower you read, the lesser you understand. The faster you read, the better you understand. The slower you read, the lesser you understand. And unfortunately, we all grew up believing that we have to read slowly to understand better. And that is why people think reading is a slow and a boring process. You know where it started? It started right when you were early years into your school. When you were probably 5, 6, 7, 8 years. When anything was important, your teachers, your parents, your siblings or people around you told you, my dear, this is very important, read it slowly and carefully. My dear, this chapter is critical for your exams, read it slowly and carefully. So many times you were told to read slowly and carefully, slowly and carefully, slowly and carefully, that you made an inference to yourself that if I read fast, I won't understand. Has this happened to you? Many a times. You were doing something important, some important reading, some project report, some study material, something you were reading, and it was a bit deep, it was a bit technical maybe, and while you were reading, you didn't understand after reading the first few paragraphs or first few pages. You thought, let me read again a little bit slowly. You started reading a bit slowly again, you still didn't understand. You started again even more slower, and within 1 or 2 paragraphs, you were fed up, you said, close it, I'll look at it tomorrow. How many of you have experienced this? That you went slower and slower, but it didn't help. Now logic says if one direction doesn't work, you have to try another direction. So if slow didn't help, you should have at least tried reading fast, but probably that thought also didn't come to you because you have already been rooted to believe that if I read slow and I don't understand, how would I ever understand if I read fast? But my friends, the reality is the faster we read, the better we understand. The faster we read, the better we get the concept, we get the gist of the reading material. And that is primarily because the human brain is designed to like speed. We are going to look at 3 fundamental principles now. Number 1, the human brain is designed to like speed. Number 2, the human brain can process that much speed. And number 3, your senses can supply data to your brain at that speed. Let's get with the first one. The human brain is designed to like speed. Think about this. Anything that you do that is slow, what does it do? If you are watching a movie and the movie doesn't unfold very fast, the movie is going slow and slow, what happens to you? You get bored, you go to sleep, correct? That is what happens when you read as well. If you read slow, you fall asleep. Now you know why you fall asleep when you read. When anything is moving very slow, you do 10 other things around it, correct? If you are watching a test match, you will probably do 10 other things around it. But if you are watching a T20 cricket match, you want to focus on the match. Why? Because in T20 speed is involved and your focus is better there. If you are watching a test match, there is not so much speed and you know you can do 10 other things. Now similarly, when you read slow, the gap between two words that you are picking is enough for your brain to think, let me go and do something else. The brain attempts to do something else between those two words. The brain thinks, now the next word will come after 1 second. Let me do something till then, and actually the brain is correct. The brain can do a lot in 1 second. Unfortunately, the brain cannot keep a track of time, so it doesn't come back, and that is why your thoughts wander. It goes away and then never comes back. This is an experience that all of you would agree with. You start reading a book, you read a couple of pages. In the first couple of pages itself, this happens. You read 2 paragraphs, your thoughts go somewhere else. Your eyes are moving with full discipline on the text, but your thought is completely somewhere else. And only when you turn the page you realize, oh, I was reading, I need to come back to reading. And then you have to read all over again. I am sure you all will relate with this. This happens because you are reading slow and the brain is designed to do anything faster, to like speed. Let's take some examples. Imagine you are walking with your friend. You want to reach somewhere along with your friend and you realize your friend is a little bit slower than you. What is your first reaction? Let's say your friend who is walking with you is a bit slower than you, and he is your friend, same age, same built up of the body. I am not talking about you walking with your grandfather, then of course you will be compassionate, but imagine you are walking with your friend and the friend is a bit slower than you. What is your first reaction? You want your friend to pick speed, right? You tell your friend, chalna yaar. You will tell your friend, let's go. Why are you so slow? You want your friend to catch up. Your brain is designed to like speed, doesn't want to wait for anybody. But let's reverse the situation. Let us say you are walking with your friend somewhere and you realize you are a little bit slower than your friend. Earlier the friend was slow, this time you realize you are slower than your friend. What is the first reaction from your mind? Think carefully. What is the very first reaction from your mind? The first reaction from your mind is to catch up. Is to catch up with the speed of your friend. Because your brain just saw that a higher speed is possible, your brain wants to catch up. First 2-3 minutes you may attempt to catch up. Now if that is too much for your body, then your body tells your friend to slow down. But the first reaction from the mind was to catch up. First to catch up, then you start getting a bit tired because that's not your natural speed, and then you may ask your friend to slow down. What's the hurry? But that is coming from your body. The first reaction from the mind was to catch up. If your friend is slow, the friend should catch up. If you are slow, you should catch up. In either case, the brain likes speed. Let's take another example. Let's say you are driving in a lane. A small lane, there is a car in front of you, not enough space to overtake. That car is moving slow and through the car you are seeing that the road is actually empty. What would you do? You would immediately probably honk. If honking is against your culture, you would still inside your mind want that car to move away. Either go fast or move to the side so you can take over. The brain is designed to like speed, doesn't want to slow down, doesn't want to stop. Let's take another example. Imagine you are driving on a straight, posh, long highway and you are driving in a posh Tata Nano. A wonderful car for the city, by the way, but let's say you are driving on the highway. Top speed of some 60-70 kilometers per hour. And while you are driving this car, another car comes from behind, a Skoda or something comes from behind and goes very fast, 140 kilometers, zoom. What do? Do you immediately take your car to the side and you are like, 2 minutes silence for my car because I cannot drive it too fast? Do you do that? No, what do? You naturally automatically press the pedal faster. You attempt to start a race with that car because your brain just saw that a higher speed is possible irrespective of the power of your machine. Your brain wants to attempt that speed. Some people even start racing with that car, knowing very well that they can see the logo of that car, they know that the their top speed is where that car begins, yet they start a race. Some people change their own parameters. They are like, as long as I can see you, I win. And if you are smiling right now, then you have done this sometime in your life, right? So this is again because the brain is designed to like speed. Walking, driving in a lane, driving on a highway, whatever, the brain is designed to like speed. Let us take one more example. This time imagine I am driving that Tata Nano, you are sitting beside me, straight posh highway, and I am driving at 60-70 kilometers per hour. You are sitting beside me. How long will it take for you to fall asleep if I am driving slow? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and you will be gone, you will be dozing off. Why? Because the brain does not like things that are slow. But imagine I am driving another luxury car, another sports car, I am driving at 140, 160 kilometers per hour, finding gaps, you are sitting beside me. Now how long will it take for you to fall asleep? I am driving very fast. You will probably not sleep at all. Whether it is out of fear or out of excitement is a different story, but the reality is you will not sleep. Whenever speed is involved, the brain is alert. Whenever speed is involved, the brain wants to focus, and whenever slowness is involved, the brain wants to doze off. Now, when you are reading, if you are reading slow, the brain will doze off. If you are reading fast, words will be coming to your brain at the speed at which the brain likes, and hence the brain will focus, the brain will be alert. Even in places where you know that speed is not good for you, there also your brain likes speed. For example, eating. How should you eat your food? Well, slowly, chew your food 32 times, 48 times based on whoever your dietitian is, and then so many things I have been told to you about reading slow, right? About eating slow. Mix the saliva, let the food digest, etc., etc. But what do? How do we generally eat? How do most people eat? They eat as if they are doing a favor on the plate. Look, I have made you empty so quick. The point is, whether it is about eating, reading, whatever, your brain is designed to like speed. At least in case of eating, you know you should not be eating fast, yet we eat fast. And I can give you infinite such examples. Cricket moved from test matches to one day matches to T20 matches. Why? Because people wanted speed. Would you like to, given a choice, would you like to use a train or a flight to reach somewhere? You will obviously use a flight, other things being equal. Why? Because you will reach faster. Given a choice, would you like a faster car or a slower car? Definitely you will want a faster car. Everything that we do, we are designed to like speed. You buy a mobile phone or a laptop with a higher processor. Why? Because that processes data faster. The human brain is designed to like speed. In anything that you do, driving, walking, eating, mobiles, matches, cricket, sports, you like speed. How can reading be slow? Why is everything supposed to be fast and reading supposed to be slow? There has to be something fundamentally wrong here. But now you may say, Pavan, fair enough. I agree that the human brain is designed to like speed. But can my brain process so much data? And what do you mean when you say speed? Can you quantify it? Can you give me some numbers to understand what speed are we talking about in reading? So let me tell you the numbers. An average person reads somewhere between 150 to 200 words per minute. For example, if I actually ask all of you to read for a minute right now and count the number of words you have read and then make an average, you all will be somewhere between 150 to 200 words per minute. That is what you are already reading with. Those people whose job involve a lot of reading, lawyers, researchers, professors, editors of newspapers, who have to read a lot day in and day out, they naturally develop this because their job requires it. They naturally develop speed reading and they read anywhere between 600 to 700 words per minute. But people who take efforts, all people like you, all wonderful learners like you, who take a little bit of effort to learn speed reading, who officially learn speed reading and then apply it, they can easily break 1000 words per minute. All of you can very easily read beyond 1000 words per minute with a little bit of practice. When I say little bit, I mean 2 to 3 days of practice. I am not talking about 21 days, 62 days, 100 days of practice here. 2 to 3 days of practice and you all can read beyond 1000 words per minute. So these are the numbers I am talking about. And now you may be wondering, 1000 words per minute, really can my brain process so much data? So let us do something here. Let's take two examples by which I am sure you will definitely agree that your brain has wonderful speeds. Number one, we will do a quick exercise here. I want all of you to think of a movie. So let's do this. I want you to think of a movie that you almost know entirely. 80-90% of the movie you can recall, something that you might have seen a few times before. And we are going to do an exercise with it. So have a movie in your mind that you liked it, that you can almost recall entirely. And once you have that movie in mind, this is what we are going to do. I want you to, when I say start, I want you to close your eyes, see the entire movie in your mind, and when you are done with it, open your eyes and type the end in the chat box or comment box. Simple. When I say start, you will close your eyes, see the entire movie in your mind, and when you are done with it, open your eyes and type the end in the chat box. Here we go. Start. Some people are already typing the end in the chat box. Awesome. Keep going, keep going. Wow, so many of you are done. That's interesting. Okay, open your eyes. Everybody open your eyes. Most of you are probably done with the movie by now. You have typed the end in the chat box. Some of you may have reached the popcorn stage in the movie, probably are stuck there and hence not going beyond, but that's understandable. Now I have a question for you. Even if you completed the movie or even if you saw only half of the movie, fair enough. A movie is typically 2 to 3 hours. How did you manage to see this 2 to 3 hours worth of a movie in less than 1 minute? Probably less than half a minute. How did you manage to do that? That is the speed at which your brain can process information when not limited by the senses. If I actually put that movie on the screen again, it will take another 2 to 3 hours to see it, but within your mind you were able to process it in less than a minute. Now some of you may say, Pavan, fair enough, but there are two things here. Number one, this I only saw highlights. I only saw the main scenes in the movie. Okay, fair enough. Even the highlights of a movie should be at least 5 minutes. How did you manage to see a video worth of 5 minutes in less than 1 minute or half a minute? The question still remains the same. Another thing you may say is, Pavan, I already knew this movie. I already knew it, I already had it in my mind. It was only revision, but when I read it will be new content. Okay, fair enough, let's address that as well. We will do another exercise, not an exercise really, but let's think of one more situation. And when I tell you about this, you will be 100% convinced that your brain can process way more information that you might have ever thought in your life. And what we are going to talk about now is a phenomenon that typically happens to many people after lunch. And all of you have definitely experienced it. Some of you might have experienced it more often, some of you might have experienced it lesser, but all of you have definitely experienced this, that you fall asleep or you feel sleepy a little bit after lunch. Now has this happened to you ever? You had some important work to finish, some important assignment given in your school or some important assignment given in your office by your boss, and you were wanting to finish that assignment, you were supposed to finish it by the end of the day. Unknowingly, unfortunately, you had a little bit heavier lunch than general, and here's what happened. While you were doing that work, unknowingly, automatically, you fell asleep. And when you fell asleep, you had a long dream happening in your mind. You actually saw a dream in that sleep. The dream was going on and on and on, this thing happening, that thing happening, random things happening, dreams are random. And you are seeing this dream on and on and on, going on for 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. And then something happens in the outer environment and all of a sudden you wake up. When you wake up, you are kind of able to recall the dream. You know you saw a very long dream, so you wonder that you were sleeping for a long time. And you get worried because you had to finish this work. So you check your watch and what do you see? You see that you were sleeping hardly for 5 or 10 minutes. It was just a quick power nap. How many of you have experienced this? You thought you slept for a long time, but it was just a quick 5-10 minute nap. All of you, I am sure, have gone through this. My question to you is, how did you manage to see a 3, 4, 5 hour long dream in those 5 to 10 minutes? How did that happen? Now this dream was new, right? It was not known information. In fact, you created it, not only consumed it, you created new information. That dream was not in a fast forward video. It was in full detail. In full, it was not only highlights, it was a complete story. And all of this, even then you managed to see in 5 to 10 minutes. That is the speed at which your brain can process information when it is not limited by your body. And now I am sure you are convinced your brain can process a lot. But then you may have the next question. Pavan, all this was happening when my eyes were closed. I saw this movie when my eyes were closed, I saw a dream when my eyes were closed, but reading I will have to do with open eyes. Who does the job of reading in your body? Well, many of you will say eyes, but can blind people read? Can visually challenged people read? Yes, they read with the sense of touch, braille script. Some people prefer audiobooks, they read with the sense of hearing, and most of you prefer visual reading, the sense of seeing. What are all these things? Touch, hearing, seeing, what are all these? These are senses supplying data to your mind, and then the processing is done by your mind. Data is being supplied by your eyes, processed by your mind. Now the question becomes, can my eyes supply so much data? Can my eyes supply 1000 words per minute to my mind? You can actually read way faster than 1000, by the way. 1000 is a good number to talk about, and hence I am using that number. So the question is, can my eyes supply that much data? Let us understand what is the power of your eyes when it comes to seeing. And let me tell you one thing, if there is the best coordination available anywhere in the world, the most powerful, the most optimum, the most wonderful coordination is the coordination between your eyes and your brain. The eye-brain coordination is the fastest, most optimum coordination ever known so far. The question is, can the eyes supply so much data? Let us take an example. Imagine you are driving on a road, and as you are driving there is a 90-degree turn, which means you cannot see anything of that road until you take a turn. Your eyes were adjusted to this lighting, to this focus, to this road, and all of a sudden you have to take a turn. Now do you do this? Do you go to the corner, stop your vehicle, turn around, analyze the new road, and then go there? Do you do that? I don't think so. You simply take a turn, right? You may slow down a little bit so that your vehicle doesn't skid itself, but otherwise you simply take a turn. Now when you take a turn, imagine there is a truck in front of you, a big truck in front of you. What would you do? What does generally happen? You instantly stop the vehicle. Ever wondered how many things happen in your head when you are doing this? Think about this. As soon as you take a turn, you see a rectangle. This rectangle, you have to adjust to the new lighting, the new focus. In that your eyes see a new rectangle, and this rectangle has to be processed. Now your brain checks. What is this rectangle? Is this a blackboard? Is this a iPad? Is this a truck? Oh, this is a truck. So what? I may hit the truck. So what? Stop the vehicle. How? Now if I am driving a scooter today, the brakes are in my hand. If I am driving a bike or a car, the brakes are in my leg. The brain has to check that and identify what is the current status of the brake, how much pressure is required to be applied. Even if you are not a student of physics, even if you don't understand the formulas for pressure and speed and distance and all that, even then your mind processes all of that information and your vehicle stops just before the truck. Such wonderful is the coordination. Within a fraction of a second, your eyes adjusted to the new lighting, the new structure, the new road. Where is the road? Where is the footpath? Where is the divider? It had got all this information, gave that to the brain processed it, and you stopped your vehicle. Or think of it the other way around. Imagine you take a turn and you see that the road is empty. Within a fraction of a second, you speed your car more, your bike more. Why? Because you know the road is empty, you can go faster. And with such wonderful eyes and such a powerful brain and such an amazing coordination between the eyes and brain, what are we doing? We are reading slowly and carefully. Absolute nonsense, to be blunt. It doesn't make any sense to use such powerful devices to read slowly and carefully. This is huge injustice to the abilities and the powers given to you. If you change that one thing, instead of reading slowly and carefully, if you start reading fast, that slow and boring process will become a fast and a fun process. Now that doesn't mean you simply read fast as in you move your eyes very fast. There is a method, there is a technique to it, we will come to that within a few minutes. But I want you to first understand this first part of the seminar was to help you unlearn what you were doing till now. Help you realize and understand that what you were doing until now as far as reading is concerned was actually not the most optimum way of reading. And the way you are reading is the primary reason why reading isn't happening, why you fall asleep, why your thoughts wander. Now that you know that there's so much that the ice brain can do within a fraction of a second, you will probably now realize, yes, the brain was right when the brain said, this guy has read one word, the next word will come after a second or so, let me do something till then. Because the brain can really do something till then, but the brain doesn't know when to come back, and that's why your thoughts wander. When you fix this, when you understand this right, and when you agree to this, and I am sure you agree by now that your eyes can capture a lot of information, your brain can process that information, and the coordination is also amazing, then it makes sense now to go on to understand how you can read fast, how you should move your eyes, how should you let your brain process that information. Before I get there, before I get into the actual method, let me tell you something about a 2-day workshop that we are going to conduct shortly. This is a workshop where we take this entire learning to a very different level. The purpose of this webinar is to tell you what is possible and give you a few methods so that you can immediately start working on it. But there is much more to this. What you are seeing right now is the tip of the iceberg. There is a way to read more in a manner that you will understand better, that you can remember. How you should move your eyes, how you should use your brain, what you should read, when you should read, what is the right infrastructure for reading, what kind of books you should read, which books for which category, how to read the books by the same author, etc. etc. There is a lot more to reading, and once those fundamentals are clear, your reading can take a totally different shape, your learning can take a totally different shape. Then it is about how to remember what you have read, all the methods, simple memory techniques by which you can remember what you have read. Then how to implement what you have read, creativity techniques, thinking techniques to implement, to apply your reading to your day-to-day life so that you can make wonders happen. All of this we cover in this 2-day workshop. For that you will have to register at a separate link. That link and the dates and everything is there. I will tell you the link also. So this workshop, I invite all of you. There is absolutely no cost for this. Before the COVID pandemic happened, I was charging 20,000 rupees per person. That was roughly about $400 that time. And many people, like I said, lawyers, doctors, chartered accountants, students, teachers, professors, politicians, everybody has benefited from it. In the pandemic, because I was anyway sitting idle, I couldn't go to conference rooms to conduct this workshop. I thought many people who wanted to learn this, but because of geographical reasons, financial reasons, traveling reasons, couldn't attend my workshop, let me do it for them free of cost, because I am anyway sitting at my home, there is no charge, and let them also learn from their home. So I converted this to an online workshop. I was not very sure about it, whether this can be taught online, to be very honest, but as we did it a few times, it turned out that online was much more powerful than the actual offline workshop. And the satisfaction that I was getting by teaching so many people was way higher, and I decided in that pandemic, when some people are donating food, some people are donating blankets, some people are donating masks, I thought, this is what I have, this is the wonderful knowledge that I have gained from the best of the people. I don't have the right to keep it to myself, I will make it open, and hence I am making this entire workshop, a 2-day workshop, free and open to everybody. I invite you all to join this workshop, where you will see wonders happen in the process of your reading, in the process of your learning, and then your growth, and hence your excellence. With that, let us move on to understand how you can actually read faster. What fundamental changes you need to do in your eyes and in your brain to read faster. So from here this webinar gets technical. Until now it was motivational. Now it gets technical. Think about this. Imagine you are a 4-year-old child and you are reading something. In that text that you are reading, there is a word called city. As a 4-year child, how would you read the word city? Would you read city or would you read C-I-T-Y, city? Of course, as a 4 or 5-year-old child, you would read C-I-T-Y, city, right? How did you know you have to start at C and stop at Y? By the spaces. So you are not really reading letter by letter, you are reading from space to space. Okay? Today do you read like that? Today do you read C-I-T-Y or do you pick the entire word? Eventually, over a period, you learn to identify patterns, and now you pick the entire word. You don't read letter by letter anymore. If the word is city, you pick the entire word city. If the word is state, you pick the entire word state. If the word is nation, you pick the entire word nation. I am not only growing the geography of the word, I am also increasing the number of letters in the word. If the word is continent, do you do this? Con-tin-ent, what does it make? Continent, okay, continent. Do you do that? Probably not. You simply pick the entire word continent. If the word is international, you pick the entire word international. If the word is internationalization, You pick the entire word, internationalization. You don't do this. Internationalization, it makes internationalization. You don't do that, right? You pick the entire word. Even now, you pick space to space. After this webinar, I want you to go and do this. I want you to go and read a few lines and observe how your eyes move when you are reading. Many people think their eyes move like this, straight over a line, continuous motion, but that's wrong. Your eyes cannot move in a continuous motion. They cannot move in a continuous motion like this. Your eyes pick a word, then jump to the next word. They pick that word, jump to the next word, pick that word, jump to the next word. That is how your reading happens. Why does that happen? Because your eyes are like a camera. Your eyes are picking words space to space, and if the eyes are continuously moving, the picture will be blurred. What happens to your picture if you move the camera when clicking a picture? It gets blurred. So your eyes wait on the word, pick the word, jump to the next word, pick the word, jump to the next word. This motion happens so fast, 150 to 200 words per minute is so fast that you think it is continuous, but in reality it is not. You are picking from space to space. Now, like I told you, even if the word is internationalization, you can pick the entire word. We have two pieces of information already. Number one, your eyes move word by word. Number two, even if the word is something like internationalization, which is 20 letters, you can still pick the entire word. Your eyes can pick 20 letters at a time, your brain can process 20 letters at a time. Even more than that, but for now, because internationalization is something that you have already read and you would understand what I mean. Hence, I am taking this as an example. Otherwise, you can even pick 50 letters at a time. But at least this is something that you are already doing. There is nothing new that I have told you, right? You are already doing this. You can pick 20 letters at a time. So, two pieces of information. Your eyes move word by word and you pick 20 letters. You can pick 20 letters at a time and process them. Third piece of information. Imagine you are reading regular English. What do you think is the average size of a word in regular English? Well, some people think it is 7 to 8 letters, but that is not right. The average size of a word is less than 5 letters. Very few words in English are more than 9 letters. Most words in English are between 5 to 9 letters. Then how is the average less than 5? Because the text is full of words like as, is, was, I, am, of, if, the, etc., etc. All these 2-3 letter words make sure that the average comes down to less than 5 letters. Average size of a word in English is less than 5 letters. By the way, speed reading can be applied to any language. I am taking English as a reference because this webinar is in English. So, we have 3 pieces of information. Your eyes move word by word. You can pick 20 letters at a time, but the average size of a word is only 4 to 5 letters. What does that tell you? What can you infer out of this? The serious and the easiest inference out of this is, it is absolutely logical. Instead of picking one word, you can pick 4 to 5 words at a time. You can pick probably 5 words at a time and another 5 words and another 5 words and another 5 words. Generally, one line has about 10 words on an average. You can pick half a line, half a line, half a line, half a line, which means your eyes that were jumping 10 times on the line can now jump just twice, half a line, half a line, half a line, half a line, 4 words, 4 words, 4 words, 4 words. And you will still be able to learn and process it. What is the advantage of doing this? The advantage is this: when words come to your brain together, then there is no gap between 2 words. So, the brain has ample things to process, and by the time that is processed, you have already picked the next chunk. So, the brain does not have this ability, the brain does not have this choice of thinking that okay, the next word will come after some time, let me go. No, you have already picked a chunk of words. Number 2, when you pick chunks, you actually pick meanings rather than words. The understanding goes much higher. When you read fast, your understanding goes much better than even your current level of understanding. When the brain likes the process, it becomes interesting, it becomes fun, the memory also increases, you remember better. And plus there will be more memory techniques and creativity techniques that I will teach you in the main workshop as well. All of this put together can change your reading for the better. In fact, what I want you to do immediately after this webinar is give this a shot. Probably first couple of lines, first 5, 10, 20 lines you will not understand anything because it is a new process. There will be some resistance from inside, right? Your brain always creates resistance for anything that is new. But here you have to win. You have to tell the brain, listen, this is how my eyes will move, you go figure out. After some time, when the brain realizes there is no choice, your brain will adapt. Then after a few lines you will see at least 1 or 2 words are coming from each chunk. A few more lines and you will see I can pick the entire chunk, and a few more lines you will see understanding coming up beautifully again. You may have to sacrifice 3 to 4 pages to do this, but by the end of 4 or 5 pages you will see you are wonderfully able to understand again. and this is just the first step. This itself can double your reading speed or triple your reading speed, thereby finishing the books that you started, thereby making you read more, thereby making you grow better. One small change and the outcomes are amazing. And when you attend the full workshop, of course, there is a lot more that we are going to see. This is just the tip of the iceberg, not even the tip, the pinpoint of the iceberg. So when you do this, when you pick chunks together, you are supplying information to the brain at the speed at which it likes. Now let us take another example for you to understand that the brain likes speed, and the faster the data comes, it is actually easier for you. So we are going to do an exercise here. I am going to tell you one sentence. Listen to this sentence as I tell this and observe what is happening in your mind when you are listening to this sentence. Okay? So here we go. During the COVID pandemic, many people faced challenges and were locked into their homes, not knowing what lies for them in the future. What happened in your mind when I was saying this? What happened to your brain when I was saying this? How many of you were already tired? How many of you wanted me to finish it off? How many of you actually cursed me a little bit, thinking, please finish it off? How many of you said, hush, when the sentence was over? Hush comes out of you when you are relieved from a tiring situation, which means if you said hush right now, it means this one sentence was enough to tire you. Now if you read like this a few sentences, obviously you will get enough tired to go to sleep. That is the reason why you sleep when you read. But what happens when things come to you faster? I will give you one more sentence now. Listen to this sentence. Observe yourself what is happening in your mind as I say this sentence, and then we will analyze this as well. Here we go. 2020 and 21 were very difficult years for many people, but then 2022 came up with a lot of hope. The vaccines were out, the people were getting cured, and 2023 is now our time to excel, to keep the past behind and to keep the future in front of us, to enlighten it, to brighten it. It is our time to do something wonderful, something awesome, and to get greater and greater. How was this? Did you understand what I said? If you understood what I said, then the primary meaning is speed does not hamper your understanding. At least it does not hamper your understanding. Did you have other thoughts in your mind? In the first sentence you probably had many other thoughts, but in the second sentence you had no thoughts. You saw that words are coming so fast that you are automatically alert and focused. That is what happens when speed is involved. Were you excited when you were listening to this, or were you tired when you were listening to this? You were probably excited when you were listening to this. Now that is what happens when speed is involved, and that when you apply into your reading, when you read faster, you are going to remember much better, understand much better, stay much alert and focused so you won't sleep, and get more and more motivated to read, simply because every time you finish something, you are motivated to do it even better. Every time you finish a book, you will be motivated to read even more. Speed is going to make these wonders happen for you. Hence, my friends, reading the way you have been reading was the primary reason why you didn't read. I repeat what I said in the beginning. Reading has the ability to make you much wiser, much wonderful, much richer, much nicer, much more compassionate, much better at your relationships, at your productivity, at whatever you want to do in your life. And reading can change wonderful things for you. What you need to do is you need to take that small effort to read the books which are written by the best of the minds in the world, kind enough to put their thoughts and experiences in the book, readily served in front of you as a platter. All you have to do is consume it. So we don't reinvent everything, we all build over their experiences and excel even more, and thereby create more experiences for the next generations to come. That's what we human beings are supposed to do, right? We build on what people have previously done, and we create more, we raise the bar for the next people to come, the next generations to come. If we can do that, we all can excel, we all can do wonderful things in life. And for that, why I promote reading is because reading is the purest form that you can ever have into your learning. So with that, let's understand one more thing. Why 100 books? Why so much? Primarily because when you have read enough, you become so wise that people want to approach you. People want to come to you to help, take your help, to seek your guidance, to seek your opinions. Primarily because it can change you for the good. Imagine you read top 5 books on productivity. What will happen to your own productivity? Imagine you read top 5 books on relationships. How will you be managing your relationships? Imagine you read top 5 books on finances. how wonderful you will be at money management. Imagine you have read top 5 books on people management, how good you will run your jobs or your organizations. Imagine you have read top 5 books on health and you know everything, the best fundamentals about health. You will be so wonderful at maintaining your health. And when you do these top 5 books in different categories, wonders will happen to you. I am not even saying read 100 books every year, even for 1 year, even for this year if you resolve to read 100 books. I am here with your resolution to help you. Not only to help you with the methods in the workshop, but I will follow up with you throughout the year. I will make sure that you are on your toes and that you are reading. I will guide you through this entire process, not just in the workshop, but throughout the year. I want you all to join this. And after this, if you think you don't have time for reading, let me solve that also. First, let me ask you, how much time can you spare for your own development every day on an average? Can you spare 30 minutes for yourself? Let's see what happens when you spare 30 minutes for yourself, for your reading. On an average, I told you, right, this workshop is logical, this is not just motivational. So I am going to give you the clear calculation of how you can read 100 books. An average book generally has 200 pages. Some have less, some have more. Average is about 200 pages. I am sure you would agree. An average page has 25 to 30 lines. Let's say 30 lines. And average words per line is generally around 10. Some have less, some have more. Let's say 10 is the average. So 30 lines per page, 10 words per line. That gives 300 words per page. Now, I told you are reading at 150 to 200 words per minute. You can read 1000 words per minute, but let's not excite you too much by going to the extremes. Let's take the average here also. If 1000 is easily possible by this method, do you think you can definitely hit 600? Right? Not 200, not 1000, but 600, somewhere in the golden center. Even if you read at 600 words per minute, which is very easy, you will definitely read beyond 1000. But even if you read at 600 words per minute, and one page has 300 words, you will be reading 2 pages in a minute. 200 pages will take 100 minutes. 2 pages 1 minute, 200 pages 100 minutes. That is less than 2 hours. You can have a book for lunch, a book for dinner, a book for breakfast. You can finish a book in one sitting. What more do you want? Why do you want to plan a book? I will finish this in 15 days, 20 days, 30 days. You can take a book, finish it and get up. That too with a very good understanding. Plus I will tell you a way of taking notes in which you can summarize the entire book in one page, so the notes are always available to you, and I will tell you a method by which you can remember what you have read. What more do you want? Now, whether you spend 100 minutes in a weekend or you spend 30 minutes every day, if you spend 30 minutes on reading every day, then that book will take about 3 to 3.5 days to finish, which means roughly about 2 books you can definitely finish in a week. If you finish 2 books in a week, there are 52 weeks in a year. Let 2 weeks go away for your vacation. Even then you are left with 50 weeks. 2 books per week into 50 weeks gives you the count of 100 books per year. 100 books per year is practically, definitely, easily, for sure possible. You can make it happen, and I want to help you make it happen. I want to give you this target, and by the way, target is not really 100 books. 100 books is just a means. Reading is just a means to get there. The real target is to learn, to grow, to excel in whatever you are doing. And to do that, this is a medium. Every book is then a workshop within itself. Every book will give you something to learn. It is as good as attending a different workshop every time you read a book. And when you read multifaceted, multiple aspects of your life with the best of the books, you are going to change inside out. You will become a walking library. You will become wise enough that people will want to approach you. You will probably be managing your money and rich enough. You will be independent and free very much sooner than others. I invite you to join this 2-day workshop where we will take this entire learning to a very different level, a very fundamental, a wonderful level. All I want you to do is go to this link, workshop.read100books.in. The link is probably there in the chat box as well. Go to workshop.read100books.in, register yourself. The date and time of the workshop is there. It will require you to give me 2 days of your time. I need that kind of, I am not asking you to pay any money, but I want you to pay your attention. I want you to join this workshop with complete focus and dedication, without any other distractions. Not that you attend because it is live and online, it doesn't mean you would be doing other things at your home while you put this video on the side. No, that's not how I want you to learn, because it's a workshop. You will be doing a lot of things there. There will be fundamental changes are going to happen in your mind, and I want you to give these 2 days, just 1 weekend of your life, and I am going to give you a strong start. You give me a weekend, I will give you a strong start. That is possible when you attend this workshop. In this workshop, we are going to see how to read fast, understand better, take your notes, what kind of books to read, what to read when, what is the right time of reading, how your mind processes data, how your mind fools you to stop reading, what you can do to go beyond that to continue reading, how you should move your eyes, how you should take your notes, how you should remember, what you should do to implement, what are the creative techniques to implement what you are reading, and how you can ensure that your reading is not only benefiting you but people around you. How you can have wonderful people around you who will read with you. Now, when you have learners around you, you talk growth, and when you have just another set of people around you, you probably gossip. When you have learners around you, your discussions, your talks, your dinner table discussions are about growth, about new methods, new techniques. Everything changes. You just have to make one fundamental change in you and everything around you changes. It's like a spark is enough to enlighten a complete dark room. That one spark, that one change inside you can enlighten not only you but people around you. To do that, I invite you to this workshop. I know it is a challenge for many people these days to give out 2 days. But don't look at what you are giving, look at what you get back in return. What wonderful change will happen inside you within these 2 days for sure, and then as you read more and more, every week you will see that transformation happen. And I will be with you not only in these 2 days but through the entire journey. I invite you to join to this workshop. Go to the link workshop.read100books.in. The link will be somewhere here below the video or on the side or in the comment box, in the chat box, or you can simply type this workshop.read100books.in, register yourself. There is no fees to be paid. All I need is you pay your attention, your focus, and everything else. We together are going to make wonders happen. I look forward to see you in the workshop. Thank you so much for joining in today, and see you very soon for 2 wonderful days of a transforming life. Thank you and take care.